Hey, this is Rob Manning from Alpha and Omega Productions, and this is part 2 of returning equipment that I recently purchased. All right, so I was just recently talking about this Zacuto Axis Mini for an EVF mount and how I need to return it because there is a 1/4-20 screw. Well, the reason is I bought this EVF, and of course this EVF is a standard RE rosette, and this does not fit. Again, Zacuto offered to send me a 1/4-inch RE rosette to replace this standard RE rosette with. I declined because I also have other equipment with standard RE rosettes and that I would like to use this arm for other things, and I'm not going to replace all my standard RE rosettes for this one arm, even though it is a good arm. All right, and so, however, right, this is a Portkeys, let me see, Portkeys OEYE Red. Portkeys OEYE Red. And so I was researching EVFs, and there are not a lot of options out there. I've always used, my first camera, cinema camera, was an Ursa, the original Ursa, and then I got an Ursa Mini Pro. And so Blackmagic's EVF slots into both of those cameras perfectly. Blackmagic's EVF is an excellent EVF. It works, it's clear, it's all I've known as far as EVFs go. So I just assumed other EVFs would be similar. Turns out that Blackmagic's EVF at around, I think it's $1,500, is probably the best EVF on the market. Of course, I didn't know that because I hadn't seen any others. So when I was researching, because I'm picking up a Z-Cam camera, and I needed an EVF for that camera. Now, Z-Cam makes an EVF. It is out of stock. And from the research that I've seen in, searching reviews on YouTube and other places, people like it, but it's not as good as the Blackmagic's EVFs. I was looking to have a similar experience with a new EVF. People mention this Portkeys, and they also mention Zacuto. So those were the top choices. There's the Z-Cam, which would integrate well with the Z-Cam camera, obviously. Portkeys, and then Zacuto. And then if you start going up higher end, obviously there's Red at around $5,000 new. So I picked up the Portkeys. This was in stock. The Zacuto Chameleon, I believe that was the one that people recommended, was not in stock. The Z-Cam was not in stock, and this one was. People had talked about the fan being loud in this one, but then some people said, they were over-exaggerating, and then I read the reviews on Blackmagic, and one person in particular left a review saying that it was completely blown out of proportion as far as the sound. So I went to pick this up, and I told the guy at B&H, I live here in New York, so I went straight to B&H, and told the guy, and he's like, yeah, I heard about the fan. He's like, let's pull it up. He said, let's open it up and plug it in on one of the sample cameras and see if we can hear it. Now, it's super loud in B&H. If you've ever been to B&H, if you're in New York City, go. It's an experience. It's loud in there. And so we turned it on, and it's loud, and we're both like this, and we're like, oh yeah, we can hear a fan, but it doesn't seem like much. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, look, if you get home and it's crazy, then obviously we have a return policy. So I'm going to use that return policy. So I got it home, and let's just plug this in. I already have it hooked up to power. Now, I will say for Red cameras, before I do that, with Red cameras, there is a system here that you can plug into the control port of a Red camera, and this is specifically for Red cameras and certain Red cameras. When the Red starts recording, the fan in this shuts down. I should also say, and again, my experience has been with the Ursa Mini Pro and the Ursa, their EVF, if it does have a fan in it, I've never heard it, ever. I've used an RE and never heard it, a fan. And red cameras are just kind of loud anyway, so I don't know if I've ever noticed a fan with their EVF. But again, my experience, my vast experience has been with the Ursa Mini Pro, I should say the Black Magic EVF. Okay, so let's plug this in. And power. And I'm going to turn this on. So my friend was over when we were looking at the Z-Cam, and I'm going to do a Z-Cam review next. And we turn on this EVF, and the first thing he said, Chris Ford is his name. He said, "This is unusable," and I was like, "Yeah, that is unusable." We both kind of joked. Can you imagine the sound person on set when you turn on this EVF and them looking at you like they want to choke the life out of you? Why? And here's the thing. This thing is amazing. It's like this. It's like this Sakudo. This thing is amazing. It's well built. It works. You would use it all the time, and then they go and they put a 1/4-20 thread on a rosette, when all rosettes use an M6 thread. In this, they put a fan in this thing, and they obviously had to, or they wouldn't have. And maybe it's because they have this great functionality, and maybe that's why other EVFs don't have this kind of functionality. It has an HDMI in and an HDMI out. It has an SDI in and an SDI out. I've never seen that on an EVF. And I thought that was a really cool thing to have and to use. You know, you could, loop the SDI into a Teradek, another monitor. I thought that was great. I wear contacts. My vision is horrible. -5, if you know what that means. I can adjust this where I could take my glasses off, my contacts out, and see perfectly through this EVF with the diopter at the bottom. The menu is great. It has all the functions that you would need. It's built like a tank. It has a standard RE rosette for mounting, and it has even 1/4-20s on the bottom. This will not fall out. The eye cup actually has a lock in there that you can take out and then twist it and then put back in. But it sounds like an airplane flying off into the distance. And unless you're doing a film about airplanes, this is going to be a problem. Going back.